what way would you kind of advise people to do the research based on, because I mean, you've done a load of stuff.
Well, the tradition is like original sources. And you're right that, like if you read Plato, the translations by like the famous ones or Benjamin Jowett, and like half the time these people, they're high level, sort of like they're like the priesthood, right? They're the Delphic sort of, they're translating things, and sure, most of it is kind of accurate. But when you're dealing with something like Plato, poetry or dialogues and these kind of philosophical discourses, it's about nuance, right? You kind of change one word or you mistranslate one word here or there, and you give it a totally different nuance or spin, that can have a profound effect on the overall understanding of somebody who's, especially if they're approaching this stuff for the first time. Like or if it's boring, like Plato's prose are actually they're very lively, they're very funny, and they're supposed to be performed. They're dramas, technically. So if you want a conspiracy, I mean, I don't understand how the dialogues are not dramatized on a yearly basis as like a tradition across the Western world. They're meant to be performed. So, Homer would have the rhapsods, right? The bards, people would dedicate like their entire lives to learning portions of the Iliads, right? And they would perform it. So they were very good. Like this is a very serious operation for education. And so these are examples of things that, going back to the original works, to answer your question, being mindful that the translations can be a bit skewed, but all the more, I mean, if we're talking like really, the young kids, get them learning ancient Greek again, get them learning Latin, like that's what a classical education is. So long story short, I would say the answer is a classical education, which involves the original works, and learning languages. The Humboldt classical education system in Weimar, Germany, that was created by Alexander Humboldt, who was a collaborator of Friedrich Schiller, the poet that I very much like, write about, translate. He created the classical education system of Germany, which really, what you see with Beethoven, Mozart, Schubert, if you think of all the composers, Schumann, and all the creativity and industry that emerged from a place like Germany, historically, they had a very strong education system, and it was steeped in classics, which, when taught well, as opposed to just, like you said, making people recite and write their lines, it has it's hard to measure the impact that it has on the mind. So I'd say classical education, in short, and get to original sources. I try and elucidate. My friend Matt Arrett and all our collaborators, we focus a lot on like things like Plato. So we try to elucidate these things that are obscure by the bad guys historically,